the power.
This is Colin, Crandall over there, and myself, Adam Roorda, with another amazing episode of MMA Power Hour. This is our 25th episode of Season 8, which means we're flipping over to Season 9 starting next week. Actually, generally we take a break. We'll let you guys know. I don't think we're going to this flipping into the new season here. But we have a few amazing guests, and before we get into that, I want to go ahead and give a huge shout out to our amazing partners, starting with Mocha Tribe. Going over to mymochatribe.com, get yourself an amazing cup of joe. The beans are the highest quality that you can find out there, and they have a whole bunch of coffee products, but their best product, I say, is their CBD coffees. I have been drinking that for a while now. There's no caffeine crash. It's absolutely amazing. Just go over to mymochatribe.com and on checkout use MMA Power 10 and get a 10% discount.
It's really good stuff. It's so good that you can not only drink it, you can bathe with it. It absorbs into the skin. So this that's the first the doctor's heard of that, but I'm just saying, man, this Mocha Tribe is smooth. This stuff is smooth. Really good coffee.
It is super smooth. But also, Colin, I want to go ahead and bring to everybody's attention Nesa's Hemp. Make sure to go to mmaph.nesashemp.com to get yourself the highest quality full spectrum hemp oil out there. In fact, they have the only full spectrum hemp oil out there. It is a CBDA product, cold pressed CBD, and you get to feel all the benefits in ways that nobody else has in their products. And I've got to put this out there. For those of you cutting weight and want long-term weight loss, this is an amazing product for it. They have a bunch of research out on it. So all of you athletes, there's many benefits for you, including helping with the weight loss. This CBDA product is the best on the market. In fact, I can't even say which famous hemp, marijuana, CBD person out there is purchasing this product, not their own, but it is starting to happen. Everybody's starting to hear about it. So make sure to go to mmaph.nesashemp.com. Absolutely.
We really wholeheartedly believe in that product. We use it. It works. And, if it didn't, we wouldn't talk about it here and we wouldn't be partnered with them. Really good quality. Unlike some people that just start saying that, we actually did have an independent research scientist come on our show, which was Dr. Karyumet Alif. About 2 months ago. You can look in our archives, and we spent about a half hour going over just in general CBD, as well as this newer component of CBDA and how that works, and how it really helps athletes and is even more effective. And then he did go and check various different companies, including Nesa's Hemp, and absolutely gives it the green light. And he's a man of integrity from Michigan, myself, and a great track record. So you can't go wrong with this Nesa's Hemp. Really good stuff.
Absolutely great stuff. And Colin, you saying that, I want to go ahead and jump on over to our guests jumping in and saying cheers and greetings. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
We love you all. Make sure to go on over to our social media, guys. Give us a like. Give us comments and shares over there. And you see it coming across the top of the screen here. All throughout the episode, you'll be seeing that. So at some point, make sure to get on over to our social media and give us some interactions over there. We love you guys on Fight TV and the Hannibal TV alike. If you're on Fight TV, make sure to go on over to YouTube and find the Hannibal TV. Just put it in the search bar. You can find us there. And then also, if you're on the Hannibal TV, make sure to hop on over to Fight TV. It's an amazing app. It is free. And, they do have pay-per-view events on there. All the MMA events that you can think of that you can't find anywhere else. In fact, they even have the big Triller fight coming up. So make sure to go on over, add them in your browser and favorites. It's fite.tv.
You know what? They should have it in Amarillo, Texas, and call it the Triller in Amarillo, right? As opposed to the Thrilla in Manila. Ali and Frazier, just thought of that. That would be amazing. It's on my dad humor, but I think that was actually transcended that even. Yeah, thank you to the whole team over at Fight TV. So many great people. And then thank you to...
Amazing things going on. They're involved with this Jake Paul versus Ben Askren fight, and helping piece together the Justin Bieber and Snoop Dogg what is it? They have a super group that they're gonna have on that fight. They're gonna be showing for that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, look forward to seeing that. That should be an interesting combination when the Bieber teams up with the Snoop. Gotta love that generational rap.
They're both fans of mixed martial arts and boxing.
They are. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It should be awesome. I really think so. And definitely, hey to Jay and hey to Shinta. Welcome. Glad to have you guys here. And our first guest coming up still a few minutes away, but we're super excited. We have a killer show for you. 3 UFC fighters. Talk to them, get to know them, give you a chance to get into the mind of these fighters that you cheer for, and maybe you can cheer for these guys if you like them, and if you don't, you don't have to. But I think for the most part, we have a lot of really good people on. A lot of the guys and girls that go out there and put their brain cells on the line for this career they love are really good people that have a really great sense of justice and fairness and believe obviously in earning whatever you get and working hard and having discipline in life. And a lot of them are really humble people who absolutely love anyone who is supporting them or a fan of theirs and like that. So, hopefully we can connect you with some fighters to cheer for. And Shinta, Bieber going to get schooled. I think that's possible by the Snoop. The Snoop has 30 years more experience in entertaining and singing and rapping and stuff than Bieber. That's true. But all respect to all of them. But I appreciate your points, Shinta. Anyway, Dr. Adam Roorda, man, we got a card.
I mean, that would be an interesting fight to see.
Yeah, too, if it was a fight. Yeah, I know, man. I don't know. The Bieber is always. Well, the Bieber is like 30 years younger. Not 30, like 25 years younger than the Snoop. But Snoop's got that reach, man. He's lanky. I mean, he's a character, man. The Snoop Dogg, SNOOPDOWG Dog. Remember him back in the day.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah, it's Snoop D-O-double-G.
Yep, he's the double G, man. Right there, two times the fun. I remember an old ad for Little Caesars Pizza when they were giving, it was pizza. They were giving 2 pizzas, and they said some other places try to fool you, and they showed some other pizza restaurant delivering a pizza in a box, and the guy's looking at it and say, "Where's the other pizza?" And the delivery guy says, "You got 2, the box and the pizza, 2 pizzas." And then Little Caesar said, "We also asked a gorilla what he would rather have." No, orangutan. 1 female orangutan or 2 female orangutans. And he hit the buzzer that said 2. And it said, the answer is clear. 2 is better than 1. So that was a little 1990s little.
I remember that.
Yeah,
yeah.
2, or the
Pizza,
female
pizza.
Gorilla. Yeah, pizza. Yeah, origami. It's a pterodactyl. Remember? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, seriously, folks, as they say, we are only 2 minutes away. Yeah, we have an interesting fight card coming up here, and history will be made as a husband and wife. Well, almost history. A husband and wife will only for the second time in UFC history be fighting on the same card. The first time it was our past guests, Montana and Mark De La Rosa, a couple years ago. And now it is going to be Cheyenne and JP Bays, or Bays. I'm not sure how B-U-Y-S is pronounced in this case, and normally it would be Bays if it's the word. But anyway, they have him listed from South Africa and her listed from here in the United States. So she's an American, he's South African, they're married, and he is a slight favorite over Bruno Silva, and she is a massive favorite over last-minute replacement Montserrat Ruiz. Montserrat Ruiz looked really good, though, in her last Invicta fight, man. Adam, I'll tell you, before we go, it's so hard to pick fights, predict fights that have last-minute replacements, and especially when the last-minute replacement has never fought in the UFC but has really looked great in another organization. There's just no way to know. Is she going to show up? Is it going to transfer? Or is she going to have an adrenaline dump and the bright lights and everything going to be too much? Or is it just the level of competition is going to be different? Hard to say. But lots of interesting fights.
It's hard to say, especially with those Invicta girls.
Yeah,
it really is. You can see them come in and tear people up.
They do. They really do well. So
you see the other end, too, where you get that adrenaline dump. It really is an X-Factor fight. Yeah. I would not put money on that one.
Yeah.
I would like to say that I would.
Right, but no, that's because you don't want to lay that much on Cheyenne Bays. It's her UFC debut as well as Montserrat. The only thing is Cheyenne knew she was fighting someone for a while. I forget who it was, but anyway, I think we're ready for that first guest whenever you can get that key.
Yeah, we sure are, and he is actually ready, which is awesome.
Awesome. Let's do it, man. Let's get ready for a Skype dance, right?
Yep.
Chase, how are you? Can you hear me, my friend?
Yeah.
Excellent. All we need you to do is hit that video button. It looks like an old movie camera with a line going through it. And then once you do that, just try to see if you're centered, and you'll be good. You probably won't be able to see us due to software connection, but then we'll be able to make sure you know where the show is. And we do a really great looking show with split screens and great graphics. But once we can have you hit that button, my producer will see first that we have video. And yeah, it should be one of the icons below. Like one of them looks like a telephone, that's not it. Another looks like a microphone, that's not it. And then one looks like a little camera, and with a diagonal line going through it.
Okay, you want me to hit that now?
Yeah, if you could hit that now, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
And then once you hit that, we'll be able to see you, and that'll be good for the show. There you go, fantastic. All right, let me give you a proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so happy to have this guest on our show for the first time. He joins a list of amazing UFC fighters, champions, top 5 contenders, top 10 contenders, and I know he's on his way to be that. We are talking about the man they call the Vanilla Gorilla, Chase Sherman. Welcome to the show, Chase.
What's up, brother? How's it going?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I was not expecting to start right now. I thought I was just doing a video check, but I'm doing good.
Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, man, so we appreciate you fitting us in. Yeah, you know, we've been friends with Jackson Wink for a while. Are you still training there, or did you move on to somewhere else?
No, unfortunately, I'm not there. Hold on, I'm putting my shoes on.
No problem.
I'm not there at the moment. I'm not there anymore, really. I'm out with Team Elevation in Denver.
No problem.
So,
that's a great school. That's a great school too. Yeah, absolutely. We had a good interview with Justin Gaethje a while back. Do you see him sometimes for some looks, or is the weight difference a little bit too much?
Yeah, no, I'm not. No, me and him, we don't get to get any live looks. He's in a completely different class.
Makes sense.
Scheduled time.
Now, who was over there? I think. Gotcha. Now, Curtis Blades and Alistair were both over there, I think, though, right? And Alistair.
Yeah, they were. Alistair is actually how I built the relationship with those guys out there. I wanted to help him for a fight this past summer, and I was like, man, I like this gym, so I started coming out there.
Excellent. Well, I know over at Jackson Wink, they never had anything but good feelings about you there. I know you spent some good time there. We were friends with the general manager there, Misha, and then the media guy, Mark Aragon, and they have not only good things to say about you. And, you know, I just talked to Mark a while back, and he said, oh, that's great you're having Chase on. He's a great guy, you know. And so, man, so much to talk to you about, Chase. Let me ask you first, man, you've got a few different things that you like to do as a pastime. You're big into motorcycle riding, right?
Yeah, and so that's not really even a pastime. That's just a now time, you know what I mean? I just started riding probably about 5 years ago or so. I bought my first Harley after my first UFC win in 211 in Dallas. I was like, I just want a bonus. I was like, I'm going to spend some money on something I've always wanted, and I went and bought a brand new Harley.
Absolutely. So, and are you like involved in any activities or any biker club or anything like that?
Yeah. So me and my teammate, Brandon Davis, and another teammate of ours, I was like, hey, you want to start riding? You want to start like riding club? And I was like, yeah, let's ride, because we all had bikes, you know. And from there, we just went through the proper steps, man, proper procedures, and now we have a riding club, and we're a support club as well. So
very cool. And is it only pretty much for people that are around Colorado, since that's where you're based?
No, man. This is back home in Mississippi that we started.
Okay, that's right.
Club. Yeah, but the sport club where we sport is all over the world. So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's hard to explain.
Totally understood, though. Are you trying to like get any new members? You wanna like announce so that people, if they're riding anywhere near there, can, you know, maybe possibly join up with you, or are you trying to keep it, you know, on the down low for the most part?
We don't go looking, man. People come find us. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna go out there and like ask people, hey, you want to come ride with us? You know what I mean?
Right. That makes sense.
If they want to come, then they're more than welcome to come see what it's all about, and they can earn a spot.
Makes sense. And the best way would be if someone were to hit you up on social media, maybe.
No, we're just local, man. Our glide club's just local, so it's not like anybody all over the country is gonna. You know what I mean?
Understood.
Yeah.
And then how about other stuff? I know that for a while back you were looking at doing some firefighting, kind of like the champ Stipe Miocic. Is that something you're working on still or no?
I was a firefighter, and then I had to make the tough decision on what to do, man. As far as because I can't really prepare for these level of fighters at home. There's just not enough bodies, and there's not enough heavyweights. There's actually no heavyweights at our gym, and so I had to make the decision, to either try to stay at home and train and stay firefighting, or put firefighting on hold and go do this the right way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And go out to train and do things I need to do to give myself the best opportunity to become a champion.
Absolutely, I agree. And you do have a fight scheduled April 17th against Parker Porter?
Yeah. Yeah, in
Excellent.
Vegas.
Has anyone been helping you for that fight? I know we mentioned that Alistair was over there, and he's who helped you get over to Elevation, and then Curtis Blades. Anyone else over there as far as heavyweight or even light heavyweight that's been helping you for this camp, or has it been like Alistair or Curtis or people like that?
Well, Alistair he's back home now. After his last fight, he wanted to spend some time at home with his family.
In Holland, right?
Yeah. Or no, I think down in Miami.
Oh, that's right.
But
that's right.
anyways, and then Curtis just had his fight with Derek Lewis, so he's taking a little break right now. But there's plenty of big bodies out there in the gym. You know what I mean? It's just a who's who, and I'm getting some really good looks, and I'm getting some really good training sessions in, and I'm getting some really good coaching as well. And I'm fucking excited, man. I'm so excited. I wake up every day excited again to train. To get better.
Nice.
I look forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, I think you're right in your prime, man. So you're at a good point. You're riding a 4-fight win streak, and I think that it's just the future.
Yeah, I ain't lost a fight since what was that? 2000. Lost an MMA fight since what? 2018.
I think so.
Or something.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My producer Kelly, so you've been looking good, man, and you've been finishing people, and that's one of the things I think people don't know is you have some of the most first-round knockouts of any heavyweight MMA fighter, and not all were in the UFC, but you have an incredible string of first-round knockouts, man. Was that something that you kind of wanted to make happen originally, or was it something that you kind of like wanted to continue when you kind of saw it happening, or what was your mindset that during all these first round knockouts that you've had in your career?
Man, I don't go in there looking to get the first round finish. I go in there ready to fight for 3 rounds. You know what I mean? Whether or not they can go the distance. You know what I mean? That's not my problem. But I don't go in there and be like, I got to get the finish for the first round. No, that's not the case at all.
Okay, gotcha.
It just, you know what I mean? It's just how the cookie crumbles.
Absolutely.
It's crumbled a lot, you know what I mean? Like, you look at those finishes, man, what most of them are, they're low kicks, man. And I feel like I have some of the most devastating low kicks in the game, period.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll go kick for kick with anybody.
I like that.
We can set it up. I don't care.
I like that.
But I'll tell you what, I was going to say is, and now you see it, you know what I mean? Now you see it. Everybody's starting to catch on, to like with the calf kick and everything. It's just a devastating, tool to have in your arsenal.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And you don't see a lot of heavyweights using it, man. And so that's impressive that you have that in your arsenal. Not only that, but one of the things I noticed is that, for a tall or bigger heavyweight, you're always in shape. You never come in there looking fat. And it seems like pretty much only some of the guys at the top other than you, seem to be in good shape. Stipe's always in great shape. Francis is always in great shape. Curtis is in great shape. Derek Lewis is a little bit of a fat guy, even though he's a big, strong guy. But a lot of these guys in between there and the rest of the top 10 are a lot of kind of fat guys. And let me ask you about that. I don't think I've heard people talk about this too much. Everyone's got different genetics, but what do you think the reason is why in the heavyweight division you got talented guys, but they have fat bellies? Is it just that they can't do any better, or they're just not willing to make their diet strict, or do you think some guys have such crappy genetics that there's no way they can look, lean, or what do you think?
I don't know, man. I don't really check them out that much, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
I don't really care what their body looks like, I mean, I don't know. You could attribute it to a number of different things you just named off of, but I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Was there
ever a time?
I wouldn't let Derek Lewis know that you called him fat.
No.
Might bust your ass.
Yeah, I think you're right.
you probably used really a poor choice of words to describe professional heavyweight fighters.
Yeah, and I have all respect for fighters, and I think Derek knows that. One of our team interviewed him and did well. But no, all respect for him. I always throw out there that I have a tremendous respect. I've always trained in martial arts my whole life, but I'm an older guy, and there's no way I'm beating anyone in the UFC. So, I have great respect for that. But yeah,
I think, man, to be honest with you, like I don't know, like people that, like for me, when I see a guy that may not look like a typical genetic specimen at the UFC, I know that the motherfucker can fight.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? He got there for a reason. It wasn't because everybody was fucking scared of him.
Right.
He got there because he could fight. Parker Porter, he looks like, fuck. I don't know, he looks like a washed up beluga whale, but I'm sure the motherfucker could fight.
Yeah.
At least we're going to find out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Without a doubt. Yeah. And just like Roy Nelson always looked like he was pregnant, but he could really fight, especially before he got old.
There's some dad bods. Man.
Yeah, without a doubt.
About that. I'm trying to stay somewhat like looking like an athlete, you know what I mean? I got old lady back home, you know what I'm saying? She tells me she's going to leave me if I get fat.
Yeah, so. I was just going to say, now everyone wants to eat, but it's like, is it something that if you decided you didn't care and you were just going to eat, would you be someone that would get fat, or what do you think if you let it go? Did you ever walk around with a pot belly?
I mean, I don't typically eat for flavor, you know what I mean? Like I do sometimes, I'm not in camp, but like I eat for performance, you know what I mean? I'm trying to put the things in my body that I need to perform at the top level. You ain't gonna fucking put regular gas in a Ferrari.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna fucking put premium like 190 octane or something. Whatever the hell those motherfuckers run off on. I don't know. I can't afford them.
Right.
But so that's the same concept, man. You eat like shit, and you're gonna fucking train like shit, and you're probably gonna fight like shit.
Yeah.
So you're putting the right things in your body, you know what I mean? It just makes the process a little bit easier.
Without a doubt. Was that always the case for you, or when you were younger, was it a little bit different?
I don't know, man. I mean, when I was younger, I was a fat little kid, you know what I'm saying? Growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit my growth spurt.
Yeah.
But no, I think when I was a kid, I ate whatever the hell I wanted. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
And in college football, I pretty much did the same thing, you know what I mean? And then I got into the fight world, and it was just different.
Absolutely.
Different.
Speaking about when you got into the fight world, man, how did that happen? Were you always wanting to be an MMA fighter for a living? Were there people that you admired that were fighting in the UFC before you started, or what was the story? How did you end up going from not being a UFC fighter to being a UFC fighter?
Man, I always just loved fighting. I just liked fighting, period. It didn't matter what kind of fighting it was, or I just always told myself that's, I was like, if I ain't got football, I got fighting. You know what I mean? That's kind of, like, that was it. And I was like, once I realized I wasn't going to be in the NFL after playing ball in college, I was like, well, let's fight. You know what I mean? Let's fight. I want to fight. You know, and I told myself that since I was in high school, that when I got done playing ball, that's what I was gonna do. You know, I went to a local MMA fight. I didn't grow up boxing. I didn't grow up wrestling. I didn't grow up doing jiu-jitsu. We just fought. We just a bunch of fucking hoodlums from fucking South Mississippi. That's what you grew up doing, playing football and fighting.
Yep,
That's
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I know in Detroit where I was from, it was kind of like that. We were more football and less fighting, but there were some scraps back then. And
Detroit, you get shot in Detroit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true nowadays.
Yeah, you just get shot in Detroit. You ain't fighting, bro.
Yeah, not now,
you know
man.
Like
no.
Yeah.
No.
We didn't weren't too much. We weren't, that fucking raw in South Mississippi. We was just shoot people, but if they were, you know what I mean, we just liked fighting. That was it. That was just it.
Absolutely. Do you feel that the football playing has given you any sort of advantage or helped at all in your fighting career?
Yeah, I mean, it's helped develop the athlete that I am. It's helped develop the tenacity that I have. Just the will to be, a nasty motherfucker sometimes.
Yeah.
It's helped do all those things. And then when you look at it from the more technical side of it, being an offensive lineman and defensive lineman, whatever, it's really helped with keeping my feet under me, keeping me balanced. It's really helped with my takedown defense as far as my hips and stopping shots. Mm-hmm. And then just the inside clinch work, hand fighting, you know what I mean? I would attest, some of that to why I'm, in second place for most standing elbow finishes in the UFC, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And people who think they want to, come in, inside my boxing range or my kicking range and play the clinch game, I'm going to fuck you up there. I'm very comfortable there.
Nice. Because, you got to figure, you got a 4-inch height advantage and a reach advantage on Parker Porter. His probably whole thing is to probably try to get in there close and crowd you. But
his whole thing is going to be coming straight forward, head down, throwing heavy shots. He's not going to outbox me. You know what I mean? There ain't no fucking way he's going to outbox me. He's damn sure he's not going to outclass me on the feet, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I say that in the most humble way. Like I'm not trying to bash on the guy, but I just don't see where he has anything for me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got answers everywhere.
Without a doubt. Did you watch his last 2 fights?
Yeah, I did.
So it's he gets
I've watched every fucking bit of film there is. I've watched everything there is to watch. I've watched it all.
Nice.
Multiple times. I fucking know him better than he knows himself.
I like it. So because you can see, even though he got past his last opponent, the one before that, Dawkins just completely dismantled him, and there's no reason why.
That's a fight. That's a fight I'm gonna want down the road too. He's a good prospect, man. I really like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Him and Aspinall.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Aspinall is a fucking athletic motherfucker, man. That's an exciting fight too.
Yeah.
Down the road.
It is, man.
Those are all exciting fights.
Absolutely, and people like to see exciting.
I'm not looking past Parker Porter, so they ain't fucking people. They ain't got to get their feelings hurt or whatever. I know what's in front of me, and I know I got to take care of business. I'm just saying, those are exciting fights. I would think,
without a doubt. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. And so, April 17th is going to be in Vegas, or where's that going to be?
Yeah, it's in Vegas.
Nice. That should be exciting, man. And can't wait for that to happen. Hey, did you ever have any fighters that you really looked up to or whose style you thought was really effective over the past, whether they were heavyweight or not, whether they're still active or not? Were there anybody, even if it's when you were younger starting your career, that you were really impressed by and a fan of?
Yeah, I mean, there's several to this day.
Who are some of them?
One that sticks out is Dustin Poirier.
Mm-hmm.
I probably started doing MMA after watching his little documentary he had back in the day on Netflix or whatever it was, and I was like, that cat grew up about 2.5 hours, just west of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Down I-10.
Yep.
Yeah, down I-10 in Louisiana, in Lafayette.
Yep. Were you surprised when he beat Conor? You must have been happy, but were you surprised or were you expecting it?
No, I knew Dustin had a chance for sure, but what I was surprised by was like how the fight had ended, kind of, because Conor was doing a really good job of keeping his range at Backstage there. And Dustin wasn't getting off on him just yet, and then he fucking heard him, and he was like, "This is it. I gotta fucking." He was like, he had his back against Conor's back against the cage, so Conor couldn't play that in and out.
Yep.
Kind of boxing style, you know what I mean? And use his range, and then fucking, as soon as he got his back towards the cage, you fucking let him have it. No running away.
It was perfect, and you could see how much Dustin wanted that, man. You know what I mean? I mean, that was such an important
life-changing. That's a life-changing fight.
It really is. It really was.
I bet on Dustin the first matchup. Like, put money on him. I was kind of like, damn. Who the fuck is this Conor McGregor cat?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that first one, man, going down in weight, and he was at that featherweight. He probably never should have been down there. But yeah, second night. So who else? Who other than Dustin were guys that you liked or that impressed you?
I always liked the Diaz brothers, man. Just because, like, they reminded me a lot of how, like, we grew up just fucking fight anybody, talk shit, just kind of nasty white boys, I guess. But,
Yep.
But now they're getting on my fucking nerves now, you know what I mean? I'm just tired of, it's just a bunch, like, I hate to say it's just a bunch of bitching constantly.
Yeah.
Bitching, like, how everybody sucks, this guy sucks, you suck. Well, motherfucker, why ain't you fighting?
Yeah.
All I hear is you bitching. You ain't fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
you know
true.
What I mean? Before you used to do that and you'd be fighting people. Now you just on Twitter bitching.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
You know what I mean? So just fight.
Yeah, without a doubt. So let me ask you, Matt, coming up, we've got some interesting heavyweight fights. I'd like to get your opinion. We got Francis against Stipe number 2, and I know that just being a heavyweight contender doesn't mean that you know the future, but you obviously have more knowledge of what it's like to be a heavyweight UFC fighter than 99% of the people watching, unless, there's some UFC heavyweights watching. But I'd love to have your opinion, knowing what it's like to be in there. Francis against Stipe. It's a rematch of a few years ago when I think a lot of us had a feeling that Francis wasn't going to be able to handle the wrestling. Now you're fast forwarding a few years later. Not that Francis has fought a whole lot of wrestlers since then, but are we going to see anything different, man? What do you think? Can you give me some insight as a guy on the inside there like you are? What do you think? How do you think it's going to unfold? And then a prediction if you have one.
The first go round, I bet on Francis. I thought, but I didn't realize where his gas tank was. He's such a fucking big dude.
Yeah.
And he's like so muscle bound, man. Like, he's extremely explosive. Like, don't get me wrong. But that requires, like, if you look at the anatomy of it, it requires a lot of oxygen for all those muscles. It requires a lot.
Right.
Now, he's built anatomically like he's, like an anaerobic athlete, like a guy that just sprints. You know what I mean?
He looks like it.
He can create super explosive power, but only for a short amount of time. You know what I mean? And then you can create more power, and then, you know what I mean? So, like, in the fight world, like, you kind of got to be that in between. You got to be able to kind of do that and get back on your bicycle.
Yeah.
And so the thing is like, Francis is going to be dangerous for 2 rounds, pretty much, in my opinion. Depending on, I don't know what kind of training he's done or whatever. All I know, he's been knocking people out in the first round. So I'm going to say 2 rounds. He's going to be as dangerous as could be.
Yeah.
And so for those 2 rounds, Stipe's got to be perfect.
Yeah. He's got to not make a mistake.
So if I'm a betting man, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't think you can be perfect for exactly 10 minutes and not get hit with, just a. Because if Francis comes out there and he, like, does what he's been doing to everybody else and just disrespecting him, like walking forward and just throwing him with reckless abandonment.
Yeah.
You know, like it's going to be it's a scary thing, I would imagine.
Yeah. You know,
but Stipe, man, we can't ever count Stipe out. He's just got the will of a warrior, man. He's just.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, the dude. How can you not like the guy?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not saying like I'm not. You know, I would say the Stipe is the better fighter.
Yeah.
But you gotta look at like Francis is the by far the more powerful.
Yeah, without a doubt.
He's probably the most powerful. Yeah, striker in the fucking world in boxing and everything. I think he probably hits harder than Deontay Wilder for sure.
Yeah, you could be right.
You know,
yeah.
So it's kind of that matchup, like, it's going to be like a Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, you know what I mean, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Without doubt.
Tyson Fury just boxed his ass to sleep, but he still almost got dropped too, you know what I mean? Like, he got dropped in, so he's got to be perfect for, 25 minutes.
Very true. You know what?
Francis has only got to be perfect for about a split second.
Interesting. I see your point. You know what's interesting? They recently announced that the welterweight champion Kamaru Usman is going to be in Francis's corner for that fight. And let me ask you, there are some people that feel that if Kamaru Usman, as good a wrestler as he is in Francis's corner, that all of a sudden Francis is going to be able to shut down Stipe's wrestling like it's nothing. We know that's not really true, but how much can having Kamaru Usman in Francis's corner, Francis, a man that grew up in Africa and in France, not in the American wrestling system, can Kamaru Usman literally try to will him to do something just because Usman knows how to do it? Can he teach him something in 2 or 3 months having to do with wrestling? What do you think?
So is Usman training Francis, or is he just going to be in his corner?
I would think if he's going to be in his corner, he is in his training camp. I believe he is.
Well, I think he might be in his corner as well, just because they're African fighters. You know what I'm saying? He's supporting the Africa. You know what I mean? That's
true too.
Yeah. If he wants another, African, champion, is supporting his countrymen.
True. That's true.
So that might be it. I talked to Usman the other day. I didn't hear him saying anything about training anybody, so he just might be there for the support. You don't need 4 trainers all doing different things, or a cornerman or whatever. You know what I mean? Some of them are just there for support. Like, I got one of my guys that comes to, he don't train me a bit in MMA.
Right.
Yeah, really. But he's there for different reasons, and he'll always be in my corner. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
So I have my MMA coach, striking coach, and my grappling coach, so.
Yep. Absolutely. And then other fights at heavyweight. It looks like, Derek Lewis is now wanting to get some of maybe the winner. Although we also have Volkov, man. Volkov against Derek Lewis would be kind of interesting. And then you have the Frenchman that trains with Francis, Cyril Gane, who, in fact, let me ask you real quick about that fight. A lot of people were hating on that fight because it was kind of boring. But you had Cyril Gane against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. And Cyril Gane had about a 3-inch height advantage and a reach advantage, and also had a better ground game. And so Rozenstruik looked like he was just on the defense the whole fight. And Cyril Gane won 5 rounds to nothing. But Dana wasn't happy with that fight. A lot of people thought that fight sucked. What did you think about that fight when something goes that's kind of technical? And were you impressed at all with Cyril Gane, Francis's training partner?
I didn't even watch the fight, to be honest with you. I wanted to, but I didn't get to it. I can't remember what I was doing. I don't know. I didn't get to watch it. I think I was training or something was going on. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. Absolutely. And one of our fans wanted to ask your opinion on that crazy fight coming up where Ben Askren is going to box against the social media influencer Jake Paul. What do you think of that?
Jake Paul is going to beat him. I really do believe that.
Yeah, it's pretty easily.
And I like Ben. Ben, Ben is so awkward on his feet, man. And everybody's counting out Jake. I don't even watch the stupid YouTube sensation, whatever stuff. I don't watch any of that, so I'm not like riding his jock or anything. I'm not a fanboy.
Right.
What I do know and what I do understand is athletes, because I help develop athletes, I help train athletes. And old buddy is an athlete. You know what I mean? He was a former wrestler, and he's got athletic build. He does athletic movements, and he is, regardless of, you know what I mean, he's been knocking people out regardless if they can box or not, whatever. You know what I mean? He still has to perform, and he's been doing it in a pretty devastating fashion. And I've seen a few clips of him hitting pads, and I've seen a few clips and I see who he's training and working with. And if you're an athlete, you could typically pick up things fairly quicker than most people. Yeah. And so I think he's going to beat him. I mean, really and truthfully, I do. Yeah. And there's a reason they picked Ben Askren. Yeah. Because he's a name and a former MMA guy, but everybody knows he couldn't fucking strike to save his life. No. But everybody's like, oh, he beat a former UFC guy. No, he beat a fucking former wrestler. Right. Boxing match. Right. Exactly. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of weird that Ben took that match. I don't know what Ben's game plan is. Maybe it's money. That makes sense. Yeah. That's what it's about. He probably gonna get. He might even be getting paid to throw the match. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a real sanctioned boxing match or whatever. That's true. You know, like, hey Ben, like, here, look, we'll throw you like 50% of these fucking buys or whatever. You just get tossed the match. Yeah. Ball rolling. Yeah, that'd be weird making it a work. Also, real quick, we'll only keep you maybe 5 more minutes. But you did one fight over at Bare Knuckles Fighting Championship. What did you feel about your experience there, and how do you like that organization? I did 3 fights over there. I was a former champion over there. Oh, wow. I'm sorry about that. My bad on that. Come on, man. You got to do your research before you interview MMA. People. With MMA, man, I got my research down. With Bare Knuckles, I got to work on that. You're right about that, brother. Well, I knew you were there at least. Some MMA reporters wouldn't even know you were there. So you got 3 fights there. You were the champion. Is that something you could look at in your future, or is that something you think you? No, I'm done with that. I'm done with it. I'm done with Bare Knuckle. I don't like talking about Bare Knuckle. Yeah. I'm not gonna give them any clout, whatever. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So that's behind me. I did what I had to do for the money. Yep. You know what I mean? Because, you know, before I got back in the UFC. So, you know, if for some reason I get done with UFC and they would come to me and they offer me a big paycheck like they offer some of these other clowns, and yeah, maybe we'll see. But money talks. Absolutely. And I'm not hearing them anymore. So I'm in the UFC. So let's take care of that. This is the ultimate goal. This is what it's at. This is one more run. You know what I mean? Without a doubt. And once you finish with your UFC career, man, hopefully you'll have been a champion and made a lot of money. Do you have any goals? Like, do you think I know you said something about being a trainer for athletes and like that. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to the fire department and I'm gonna open up one of the best sports performance gyms and training facilities on the coast. That's what's going to happen. That's where it's going to be. Probably going to, buy some land and then do all of that on that piece of property, and it'll be cool. Nice. And where on the coast are you talking about? Back in Mississippi, where you're from, or what? Yeah. Yeah. D'Iberville, which is just north of Biloxi. Nice. I know Elvis originally was from Mississippi. They get a lot of talk about him spending his life in Tennessee. Yeah, but Tupelo. How close are you to that, where you live in Mississippi? Not close at all, but Elvis, one of his houses was in the same neighborhood that I was living in Ocean Springs. Nice. I'm a big Elvis fan. Elvis would have liked MMA, I think, because he was in karate back in the 60s. And, in the 70s, a lot of people criticized the white suit he wore in the 70s, but it was actually a karate gi so that he could do his moves and his kicks and his punches. So he was a martial arts guy way back, and so, I know he would have been into it. But, man, I tell you what, Chase, a lot of great things happening for you, man. I can't wait to see you mix it up. I think you would make an exciting contender. I think when you get past Parker Porter, I think they're going to have a lot of big things in store for you. Like you said, you could get Dawkins, you could get Aspinall, and then, I think you really could be pretty quickly up there with the guys near the top. And, I know that you're ready for it. I think, Good.
Yeah, I know that you're ready for it. What do you think?
Oh yeah, man. I think that's gonna. I mean, if I'm thinking in business aspect, I'm thinking guys like the other two that we just named and myself, or I mean, they're the new guys coming in, and they're kind of it's a process, man. It's a cycle of life. I mean, the younger cats kind of moving in, and then the older cats kind of moving out, and it's a never-ending process. It's just how it goes. You see kind of the older cats are getting released right now, and you see some of these prospects are coming in and they're making a lot of noise and they're finishing a lot of people, and I think that's where I stand. And so get this win, and then reevaluate that contract and see what kind of moves we're going to make, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely, man. Well, I look forward to seeing it, man. You're an exciting fighter. Love to see heavyweight fights that are exciting. Not all of them are. And really want to thank you, man, for taking the time to join us here on the MMA Power Hour.
All right, brother. Take care.
You too. That was the Vanilla Gorilla, Chase Sherman. Really appreciate him. Dr. Adam Roorda, honest, to the point guy. He's not holding anything back.
Straightforward.
Straightforward. We know where he's at.
I think we surprised him, and he thought it was just a video check real quick.
Right, yeah.
So,
But,
I think we woke him up from a nap.
It could have been that he
hopped straight up from the couch.
Right, that he was moving around, had to do his thing. Some people are pointing that out, but I think he's just walking around trying to hold the phone. And I think also fighters train really hard. I know personally I'm not a fighter, but my shoulders, when I'm holding up my phone after hard workouts, it's hard. So that might have been why he seemed like he was moving around or bouncing around a little bit. Who knows? But anyway, big thank you to Chase Sherman. We're ready for our next guest whenever you are, Dr. Adam Roorda.
All right. Give me a couple seconds here.
We'll roar into this next guest.
The next guest.
But anyway, thank you.
Set up a couple things.
Absolutely. But thank you, guys. And also big thank you to Nate for throwing us, looks like the 5.
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
We really appreciate that. All support. Anyone else throw us a few bucks, we really appreciate it tremendously. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate the great question.
Get on the Hannibal to throw a few of those our way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And that's right, because that is for Hannibal. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but Hannibal thanks you. We thank you on his behalf. And,
and we thank you for the likes, comments, and shares.
Yes,
go on over to mmaph.nesashemp.com to get yourself some amazing full spectrum hemp oil that will support us as well. And if we see an order come through from you, believe me, I'll be paying attention, answering your questions. You don't need to worry about any tips at that point.
Exactly. And then also, funny thought from TGC Grooming. If Ben gets in trouble, he says, F it. He's going to take, he'll take
I actually,
down.
You and I were talking about how we might actually see that.
I wouldn't be surprised if you ever asked him, like, yeah, I'm not playing this anymore. I don't care if this is a boxing match. Takes him down and submits him. That would be freaking hilarious. But then disqualification, probably hold up the purse, and that's probably not going to happen. But, man, you know what I would love to see, though, that I think could make some money while Dr. Edinburgh is working on this, would be some sort of like an exhibition match, or not even exhibition. How about like in Chael Sonnen Submission Underground Grappling, Ben Askren against Damian Maia? That's the matchup that people always thought would be amazing. Obviously also like Ben Askren against Khabib, even though I think Chael wouldn't be able to afford Khabib's purse by 10 times. So that probably won't happen. But love to see Askren with his funky, amazing wrestling against someone who is really good with their submissions. You know what I just realized that makes me sound pretty stupid is that match did happen in MMA, and Maia, I believe, did submit Funky Ben Askren, so my bad on that. But you know what? I think Maia's punches were better, and some of his punching maybe was working on Ben that had an effect. I don't know. Bottom line is that was a really interesting grappling match. It really was. But anyway,
Absolutely.
So let's get...
before we go in there real quick, so noticing you guys with these comments. 5 watchers. Tell your friends, family. Let them know, so that way we can get a lot more in here.
Right.
We are over on Fight TV as well, where there's... quite a few other
a lot of people watching on
yeah.
Fight TV, if not on YouTube. Yeah, a lot of people. We've only been doing YouTube for a couple months, dudes. So not a lot of people know that we're on a Wednesday night.
We're trying.
And
show the love. Show the love.
And then a few weeks later, we tend to have a lot more than whatever few people you mentioned. But thank you for noticing. Check out on Fight TV.
We're ready to go into that step dance.
Let's rock it.
It's not coming yet.
No dance. I'm doing my movement, and I'm
Something's not right.
dancing to the beat of my own drummer.
Something's not right. Hold on, Khama. I'm going to call you back.
All right, we're getting ready to have our next guest on here.
Yeah,
we're just having a
not working
Skype issue. The doctor is going to work that out here. And let me tell our next guest, we're trying to work out a Skype issue real quick here. Where we do this. Working on a little Skype issue here. Sorry, we should be at you in a minute or so.
This is fun.
Yep. All right. So meanwhile, Nate found it by accident. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate you jumping in, bro. We really do, man. Yeah, we are on every Wednesday between 6 and 8 p.m. Pacific time, and our shows stay up. They're on fight.tv, and we have a catalog of dozens and dozens of shows over the years. I think we've been on Fight TV for about 2 years, and our show's been on 4 years. And then Hannibal TV, we were on for a short while last year and just jumped back on really early this year and staying with it. And so you can check out archives, some older shows even on Facebook where we used to be live on Facebook. And so, yeah, we're a team of MMA people that really love the sport. We've all trained in at least one martial art, if not more, and really have a passion for this sport. I've been following MMA since the inception of the sport. I had a copy of the press kit for the UFC 1 before the event. And so I've been really following it for a while. So I like to consider myself pretty knowledgeable and trained in several martial arts. Anyway, so we are excited about getting our next guest on. Dr. Adam Roorda is working on it to see what's going on with Skype. I was just looking at his picture of Chase up here looking, and Chase said maybe I should have called Derek Lewis. Bad. I love that.
We have Khama here, but we can't hear him right now, so I got to figure this out. Give me 1 second, gentlemen.
Okay.
Bear with me.
All right.
Keep talking, Colin.
Okay, and meanwhile, he said, should I let him know? Okay.
I can hear y'all.
Well, can you hear me, Khama?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. Okay, Adam, Khama, here's me.
Awesome. We got it now.
All right, Khama, all we need you to do is hit that video button, the one that looks like an old school movie camera. And then once there you go, perfect. Oh, we had you. Okay, now it's coming back. All right, so Khama, we're live.
No, he needs to hit it one more time.
Okay,
you told him
Khama,
after we had him already.
All right, Khama, can you hit that one more time? That movie, there you go, perfect. All right, we're live, my friend. Let me give you a proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm super happy to have this next guest on the show once again. This is one of my favorite fighters fighting out there in Pittsburgh. The man they call the Death Star, UFC fighter, Khama Worthy. Welcome back to the show, Khama.
Hey, man. Good.
Hey, so you are fighting in the lightweight division, am I right?
Yes, sir.
I like that, man. 155. You got an amazing record. You got a great fight coming up. I'd love to have you announce when that fight's going to be and your opponent.
It's going to be next Saturday, UFC 260. My opponent will be Jamie Malarkey.
Yep, and that is on the 27th. You know,
27th.
Nice, and it's good that you're not fighting him today because Malarkey sounds like an Irish name, and if you were fighting an Irishman on St. Patrick's Day, right, that's always bad luck. So I'm glad you don't have it. Yeah, in boxing, man, I was a big boxing fan even before MMA, and they were always saying, man, never fight an Irishman, especially never fight an Irishman on St. Patrick's Day in Ireland. Right? Because unless you stop him, you're not going to have one single judge giving you the decision.
I can see that.
Yeah, but no, there's some good fighters, man. But Malarkey, man, what do you know about this man, Jamie Malarkey, man? What kind of challenge does he present?
He's tough. He's a tough guy. He's from Australia. He's a former rugby player, so those guys are just built a little different, a little bit of screws loose. You know, that they're willing to die.
Yep.
He's fought some tough guys. He's had really 2 tough fights in the UFC. He's lost them, but they were tough fights. They weren't. He's had like 2 world-class kickboxers in his first 2 UFC fights. So they're not easy fights. And he comes to fight, man. He's tough as nails. He has good boxing. He trains with Ross Pearson, so he has that style of fighting, that sprawl and brawl.
Right.
So it's gonna be an interesting fight.
Without a doubt. You've got a little reach on him and some height. He's, like you said, one of those rugby guys tend to be like a little bit shorter and stocky, you know. So
he's actually 6 feet tall.
Is he? Is he? It's weird because I looked on Sherdog and they got him at like 5'8".
No, he's like 5'8". He's 6 feet.
Okay. Yeah, man, I'll tell
Sherdog.
you, sometimes it seems like Sherdog is trying to mess up other media outlets that look at their reference site. They got all kinds of wrong information, man. Okay.
Nah, he's good.
Yeah, because you know what? Like, notice like a couple weeks ago, the heavyweight matchup when Rosenstruik fought against Gane, they listed both of them at 6'4", yet Gane was like 3 inches taller than Jairzinho Rosenstruik, right? And I'm like, everyone knows Rosenstruik is not 6'4", he's like 6'1",
Right.
and Gane is closer to 6'5", I think. And so, yeah, they mess that up sometimes, man. I don't know why they do that, but who knows. But anyway, okay, so he is a guy that you're kind of looking just about eye to eye, pretty close
Right.
in the height. All right, and now let me ask you, he's coming off 2 losses against good opponents. You've never been in this position in the UFC, but if you lost 2 out of 2 fights in the UFC, you got to be knowing that your back is against the wall to some extent as your opponent feels. Now, what happens in that case? I mean, sometimes I feel like if a man feels his back's against the wall, he's going to come out extra aggressive. But then again, sometimes they don't, because sometimes they're like, man, I can't even afford to make one mistake because then I'm out. I mean, have you ever thought about like what someone's mindset would be when they feel like their back is against the wall? Do you think there's anything you could capitalize on, or do you think there's anything you could maybe expect him to do, being that he really needs this win?
Yeah, I mean, like I've lost 2. I've taken 2 losses back to back before,
Right.
and rough. And your brain is definitely thinking like you have to win.
Yeah.
Like you don't technically play it safe, but you have to win. Like your brain, and in the UFC, in the lightweight division, it's like when he's going to basically get cut. Like, I mean, like he's going to have three L's in a row in the lightweight division. I'm sorry, but that's it. It sucks, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I expect him to come out and fight for his job. But that's exactly what I'm doing. I mean, like I'm coming off a loss myself. Even though I have 2 wins before, I can't. I'm not taking 2 fucking L's in a row. So I'm gonna have to go out there and like I'm gonna have to pick his soul. So it sucks to be him.
Yeah, without a doubt, I agree. We have a question from one of our good supporters and fans, Nate. He wanted to wish you good luck on the upcoming fight, Khama, and then he asked cool, appreciate that. And then he asked, was there a fighter that you grew up when you were real young, like an MMA fighter that you idolized or looked up to, or a boxer or anything like that?
I never really watched fighting too much when I was younger. Like I always idolized Bruce Lee. I'm a big Bruce Lee fan, like just his philosophy and everything.
Nice.
I watched like probably every Jackie Chan movie growing up, but I didn't really get into like actual fighting until I was like 21. Like, I mean, of course I like watching Mike Tyson, I watched Muhammad Ali.
Yep.
But I didn't really like study the sport until I was older. So I actually started training.
And when you first got into MMA, were there any people like GSP or like Tyron Woodley or anyone that you did look up to when you first got into MMA?
I love BJ Penn. I was a big BJ Penn fan. I always told myself I'd end up fighting BJ Penn at some time. And Anderson Silva, and because I'm in Pennsylvania, so everyone's a wrestler around here.
Right.
So everyone's always, and I didn't wrestle in high school or anything, so I was really behind the curve on the wrestling aspect. But Anderson Silva did the total opposite. So I was like, all right, well, there you go. I just liked his style of fighting because he was more like my style of fighting.
Yes, that makes sense. And you do have that similar style in many ways as Anderson. He was just amazing, man. His timing was just so good.
Oh,
yeah. And his accuracy. Yeah. Speaking of which, man, you're a very knowledgeable MMA fighter, and I know you're a student of the game. When Israel Adesanya, who has a similar style to Anderson, went up in weight, did you expect the result was going to be kind of like this, a close fight, but just one that maybe the size advantage played against him? Because he came in at 200.5 pounds when he could have come in at 206. And the other man drains down to 206. So if you looked at them both, it looked like Blachowicz had probably 20 pounds on Izzy. And it just seemed like that gave Blachowicz a little bit of an advantage, although I thought Izzy did pretty well. First of all, did you feel that was a close fight, or did you feel, because I did, or did you feel like some of these judges that Jan won every round, and were you surprised at the result or not?
No, I had Israel winning the second round only.
Okay.
Maybe the third round, but like he always takes first rounds off. That's just how he fights because he's a reign. He kills people out, and then he definitely lost the fourth and the fifth. And I had him. I mean, he kind of like hurt on a little bit in the second. And that's the only round I distinctively gave him. That's pretty much it. I in my eyes, I thought he lost every round. Like the commentators were talking him up, but like he was feigning a lot, but he wasn't hit. Like he's freaking huge.
Yeah.
Like his jabs were like sending Israel like halfway across the cage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he announced that fight, and he said he wasn't going up weight class. I'm like, dude, that guy's going to be too big. Like his jabs were like irritating him. And then, like, he wouldn't get, like, the only reason he didn't kill Israel is because he was overthinking him.
Right.
Like, Israel was, like over feigning. He got tired from the feints. But, like, if he wouldn't have overthought it, he probably would have put him out in the fourth round. I think he could have got the mount in the fourth round and put him out. Like he did at the end of the fifth round. He could have done that in the fourth round. He would have put Israel out because he wasn't moving from beneath him. There's nothing he could do from beneath him.
Yeah. And I noticed that as well. You know, got to give credit to Izzy, though, because for him to go up there and know he was going to be given all kinds of weight, to go up to a higher weight division with a 20-pound difference and your first fight to go up against the champion, we do have to give credit for Izzy for courage, you know, making that move, because that's unusual, isn't it?
That's courage or stupidity. Depending on how you
yeah.
It's like, oh, you got so much courage you ran across the highway. I'm like,
right.
Oh, dog, you went down to the crosswalk. But I mean, like, like my thing was, like, everyone kept saying him versus John Jones, John Jones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I know Izzy comes out of a smart camp. They're like world-class kickboxers and world-class fighters. So I didn't get what their approach was to beat Yarn. Like, what was their approach? Were they anticipating him getting tired? You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that type of mindset to be like, oh, I'm anticipating my guy gets tired, so I'm gonna get my butt kicked pretty well for the first, like a Mickey Ward type thing.
Right.
This isn't boxing. MMA, it's just too much variables for you to be like, oh, I'm gonna wait for my opponent to get tired.
Yeah.
Like it's too easy to like for you to get behind and then he never got desperate. You know what I mean? He never got desperate in the fight. So I was like, what? Because he was worried about getting knocked the fuck out, which is understandable. You're in there with this freaking mammoth of a human.
Yep.
I mean, like, I used to fight at 145, and now I fight at 155, and the power difference is gigantic.
Right.
185 to 205 are like they're like night and day. It's night and day power.
Yeah.
So I don't think he kind of like respected it enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong. He jumped at the opportunity to be a double champ. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Matt Holloway tried to do it too, and he came up short too. I mean, you can't really blame him for doing that.
Right.
But I expected more out of Izzy. I was like trying to think what the game plan was going to be, and then when I got into it, they started fighting. I'm like, oh, he's going to try to use this just like he fights any other fight, and the weapons just aren't as dangerous because the guy's way bigger than you.
Yeah, exactly. And I watched it with a friend of mine who is like. This man to me is the master. He never fought as a pro like you, but he fought. He was in special services and special ops and all kinds of military stuff. The guy's got black belts in like 4 styles. The guy is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. The guy is a beast, and he's a physical specimen, and has taught numerous people. Real humble guy. And I asked him. I said, man, because Izzy was his favorite fighter. And I said, can you tell me what you think went wrong? And he said, you know what it is, man? He said, when Izzy is facing these smaller guys at middleweight, he's relaxed the whole fight. His muscles are relaxed. He's not worried about some big, tall guy with power hitting him. And he said, in this fight, the threat was there so much that Izzy had to be like tensed up. So many, right, the whole time, right? And he said, and that's tiring, not only the being tensed up, but having the weight of Jan on him. He said, man, Izzy was starting to gas, and at middleweight, Izzy never even comes close to gassing. And it's just that, you know, the size was doing that. I think you agree with that.
he got hit with that punch early on in that fight with Romero, and it scared the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Like, it scared the living shit out of him.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't start doing anything until like the 4th or 5th round. He started kicking him, but he still didn't kind of cut loose because he was worried about getting caught with that type of power again.
Yeah.
He's smart.
Yeah, I agree. But, you know, they say, his camp says he'll be back, and I can see, I mean, now that he's got the feel of it, next time they can make a move that will be smart, probably maybe when Izzy's a little bit thicker. He's like 31. I think in the next 2 or 3 years, he's going to get naturally probably thicker, as we all do. And then next time Izzy goes up to light heavyweight, he doesn't have to come in at 200.5. He can come in at 205.5 or 206 and have cut down to make it, you know, because he's a tall, lanky guy, so he probably can do it, but just not in this situation. Speaking about that, how about another tall, lanky guy, John Jones, man? We're all waiting for him at heavyweight. But now let me ask you this. The difference between the two is that Izzy was either foolhardy or courageous enough to jump up right away after only dominating the middleweights for 2 years or whatever. John, many people can say, has done it the smarter way. He spent 9-10 years at light heavyweight and now he's saying he's 32, 33 years old. He's probably naturally getting thicker. His brothers are huge, as you know, in the NFL. So probably John, I would imagine, probably weigh in at something like 230, 235. He's not going to be real small, but how do you think that's going to go? And could John compete with some of these top guys right now, like Francis or Stipe or Derek Lewis?
So John, his camp is really smart. I just didn't like what I saw out of the last couple of John Jones fights. His willingness to get hit. Like, he would let his leg get beat up pretty well. He's letting himself get hit. And I thought Reyes might have beat him in all those up, even though he won a super close fight. It depends on how he transfers all his skill set to heavyweight. It's like that type of power, like knockout power, is like God given.
Yeah.
You can put on more weight, but unless you have like someone like Francis Ngannou or the Black Beast, they have a gift from God to hurt people, and they just happen to weigh 260 fucking pounds.
Yep.
Like, so no matter how much your skill set, I mean, like you saw the Black Beast last fight, man. Like, that dude can. I'm pretty sure he could probably knock out a fucking horse if he wanted to.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Power. So, I mean, like, it'll be interesting to see how John Jones approaches it. I mean, he's definitely doing a smart thing by gaining the weight. I just don't think he can still implement his same type of game plan he does at 205. Because once again, if you get touched by Francis Ngannou, your whole life has changed.
Yeah, like, without a doubt.
I mean, you get touched by Stipe. You know what I mean? Because Stipe can move too, and he can hit really fucking hard. So if you get touched by that guy, I mean, like, there's a lot of guys at the heavyweight that I think can give John Jones a little bit of a problem. But I think because the way that he's doing it's a little bit smarter, I think he'll definitely have a better chance. He'll have 10 times better chance than Izzy at 205.
Yeah, I think so too. And we got a couple good questions from Nate, but I'm going to ask one more of my own first. We all are thinking probably what I said, which is that John would probably come in at 230, 235. Is there any chance that all of a sudden something crazy happens and John comes in at 255 or 260? And if so, would that make any sense? Could you see that, or would that be not a good plan, or is that possible, do you think?
Again, it all depends on how he does it. Like, I'm not in his training camp. I don't know what he's doing in the gym. Like I said, his brothers are fucking huge.
Yeah, they are. So they really are.
His name was Bones because he was always the skinny one out of his brothers. So maybe he's finally catching up to his brothers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But the skill set, like, he won't be. I know for sure he won't be able to do the things that he does as a middle
light heavyweight,
light heavyweight, the same way as a heavyweight. But I don't really know. I'm not, like, all up in John Jones stuff like that. So I mean, I know the way he approaches things is different. He's really calculated on how he does things.
Without a doubt. Let me ask you a couple questions from one of our fans. Who currently on the UFC roster would you like to fight if they were willing to move to your weight class? So maybe he means, let's say, if someone at 145 could come up, or if someone at 170 could come down. Who might be exciting for you if someone wanted to move from those weight classes to lightweight?
I was actually Looking at, I saw Cub Swanson said he was willing to fight at 155, and I've been a big fan of his for a long time. So, I mean, he's been around for a minute, and he's been respected. He's fucking fought everyone from Jose Aldo. I mean, like, that guy's fought everyone. Frankie Edgar, freaking anyone you can think of. Cub Swanson's fought in the UFC. So I think if I could fight someone, and it wouldn't even be like he asking him to come up a weight class. This is actually a realistic fight that can actually happen, because he said he would like to take fights at 155. So that would definitely be a fun fight.
Nice, absolutely. And yeah, man, he's so impressive. I interviewed him in person once. A very, very nice guy, just real positive, real intense dude. And yeah, man, he really shut down Gracie in that fight about 2 years ago. And then right?
Because you knew I was Gracie. Everybody was jerking Colin Gracie off, and he beat the.
He really did, man. No one's heard. I mean, all respect to Colin Gracie, but that must have been a weird one-off in the UFC, which they don't normally do. But maybe because of the Gracie name, Dana made an agreement. But man, we haven't heard anything from Colin Gracie since then. But man, and yeah, he Cub is a stud without a doubt. Here's another question. This is, who was the toughest wrestler backstage? I don't understand. What's that, fighter? Oh, fighter. Okay. Toughest fighter backstage. That's an interesting question. Okay, how about this? Did you ever have anyone in the UFC, or maybe any of your fights just before that tried to get crazy, like at the face-offs or the weigh-ins? Anyone try to like shove you or punch you or headbutt you or anything like that?
You know what? There's only one person, and it wasn't him. It was his coach, and I'm actually good friends with both of them now.
Okay.
He's my man, Francis Healy. When he was my first fight at 145. This was probably like 8 years ago, and his coach was talking mad shit at the weigh-in because I was sucked down. I was so tired.
Right.
And his coach's name was Beto Jones. I'm cool with Beto now too. They're both like two of my good friends. We started training together after we fought years later and stuff.
Nice.
But his coach was always up. He was like riding me and I'm at the scale and stuff. And it was just pissing me off so bad. I wanted to fight him. I didn't want to fight Francis Lee. I wanted to fight his coach. So
right.
Besides that, I've never had anybody really do anything that way in with.
I got you. You know what my favorite funny memory, and I just YouTubed this because I hadn't seen it for a while. I don't know what made me think of it, but there was a fight in Pride like 20 years ago. There was a man called Heath Herring.
Yes.
You remember him? And I forget what his nickname was. Crazy Horse. Texas Crazy Horse, right?
Yeah.
And he was fighting a Japanese guy, a Japanese guy named Kiss Nakao. His nickname was Kiss. And
he kissed him. He
kissed Heath right on the weigh-ins on the lips. And Heath came in and threw like a right or a left right in the guy's temples, flattened him right there. And that makes sense.
The fight started, so they didn't even get the fight going.
No,
the fight didn't even happen.
Yeah,
I don't know if he got. I don't know if that was like a no contest or like if he took that as a loss or what it was.
I really wonder, man. But I mean, like, that was just one of the craziest, silliest things. I mean, you got to figure, what did this other dude think was going to happen? You kiss a guy on the lips. I mean, he thought the guy was just going to say, "Thank you. May I have another?" Or something.
Fights are going to break.
What's that? What? I didn't hear you. What did you say, Khama?
Now, I'd say definitely fights are going to break out.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. That was ridiculous. But let me see. Here's another one from one of our fans. What do you think about boxers who feel like they can make it in MMA, where like you sometimes will hear all kinds of boxers talking about almost as if it's just an option that they can easily do. I'm not saying they're all disrespecting MMA, but it seems like a lot of top boxers never come out that often and admit, no, man, I would be smashed in there. They frequently come out and say, oh, I'm thinking about it, or I could probably jump in there and school a few people. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Is there some merit to the fact that a high level boxer could maybe make something happen, or is it something you think is ridiculous where they're fooling themselves into thinking they could maybe do something?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the crossover in any direction is completely idiotic. I mean, like, I could never. I'm like, me and Canelo weigh the same weight class. I'm like, I ain't boxing that motherfucker.
Right,
I ain't get
right.
my fucking. And if Canelo came into MMA and wanted to get at me, I'd break Canelo's fucking leg in the first freaking round. He'd be broken in the stool. I mean, it's just two different sports. It's checker. I mean, it's a different game. It's playing checkers or playing chess. It's completely different. The weapons are completely different. The style, the stance, everything is completely different. So, I mean, I think when people do that, it's just maybe they're trying to make money fights, you know, like the Mayweather McGregor thing or whatever, you know, like everyone's just trying to make money fights, but no one's going to actually. You'll see maybe some MMA fighters go up to fight boxers. Maybe if the money gets big enough, like I'll fight Canelo for $1 million.
Right.
Fuck yeah, I'll fight
right. For sure.
Yeah, no. You know, I mean, I'll go in there, do my best, and take it to where I can take it.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
You'll never see a boxer come to MMA ever.
Right.
That will never happen.
Right.
Ever.
One of the Go ahead. What do you mean, not just straight to it, but what do you think about someone like Claressa Shields? So there's not a lot of women that are big, and she's thinking maybe she can work her way into fighting Amanda Nunes or Cyborg, but she's young, and it sounds like she's putting in some time training with Holly Holm and some people like that. I mean, if you want to put in the work, something could happen, or do you just think it's highly unlikely even that she can make something happen?
It's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
It's going to take a long time. Like, it's going to if she's an Olympic level boxer, her boxing stance has been put into her brain. It's like breathing for her.
Right.
So it's long. I mean, it's just like those wrestlers, like, you know what I mean? Those Olympic level wrestlers, it takes them a long time as well. But wrestling is a little bit easier because you can control the fight with wrestling. For striking, you have to be able to control your opponent to keep them right where you need. So it's going to definitely take. I mean, I think Claressa Shields will probably get some fights in it, but I don't think she'll ever catch Amanda. I mean, they'll never. I don't think that the twins will ever meet. It's just too far.
Yeah, I remember I interviewed Claressa. She was over at one of the UFC events a couple years ago, and you know, I remember I said to my friend, I said, "Man, why is she? How come she's looked all stylish compared to these other girls?" And my friend said, she's getting paid a lot of money. She's got the money to be looking a little bit more stylish than some of our MMA girls. But she was real cool. And she at first had shouted out she could go 155, she could go 145. And then I asked her, I said, Claressa, you shouted out a couple of weights. And I said, including 145. And I said, what's the reality of you coming down to 145 for a fight? Even with Amanda, and she said, I guess I would have to cut off an ass cheek. And she said,
about
right.
She's a thick. I don't think she's making. I don't think she's going to make 155. 145.
No,
I just don't think so.
No,
especially for MMA, because boxers don't cut way that we cut and stuff. So it's just different.
Yeah, it really is true. That was funny. But one of our fans, Shinta, said, "Good luck on the 27th, Khama."
Thank you.
And then one of our other fans mentioned, did you ever hear of a pro wrestler called Chris Jericho?
Yeah.
So he has called out Conor McGregor. I've never thought about that. Now, a pro wrestler, all respect to the pro wrestlers, some of them came from a real collegiate wrestling background. Some of them are scrappy. They definitely are brave guys to be doing those crazy stunts. So unlike some people, I have nothing but respect for what pro wrestlers do. I'm sure as far as the stunt and danger aspect, you do too. But Chris Jericho, most of these wrestlers are at least 200 pounds. You know, what do you think a big guy who's a pro wrestler can do something against Conor McGregor? Maybe, I don't know, probably not. Wouldn't be good, huh?
That's not realistic. Like,
yeah,
it's just not. Like when people say, I'm like, dude, unless he's like a D1 wrestler, unless he's like Brock Lesnar,
right? You
know what I mean? Yeah, like now could Brock Lesnar do something with Conor McGregor? Yeah, because he's a D1 national wrestling champion at heavyweight. He fucking grappled some of the best guys in the world. Yeah, but like freaking Chris Jericho is like, he's a good pro wrestler, but no,
he would be lit up pretty quick, huh?
He'd get knocked down in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, I believe it. I agree. Well, can I get your opinion on some upcoming fights for the last few minutes we have you here, Khama?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Dr. Adam Roorda, my producer, if you could bring me this next card coming up here this weekend, that would be fantastic. All right, let's maybe go down. Okay, go to about I think Okay, where are we? No, don't worry about that. There we go. Okay, let's start around. There we go. Where you have it on the screen is perfect. Okay, so some interesting fights here. Do you have opinion on the women's fights as much? Do you watch them equally as much as men's fights, or do you tend to not watch too many women's fights?
No, I watch the women's fight more. They fight harder.
I love it. Yeah, me too. I'm a huge fan. All right.
Their fights are way better than the guy fights.
Nice. I know. I love
like
it, man.
Amanda Nunes is the best UFC fighter right now.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like not the best female. She's the best fighter in the world right now.
Yeah.
The best combat athlete in the world right now.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I really would say right here, you're probably right. All right, so this fight has got Marion Renault. She's about 41, 42 years old. Black belt in jiu-jitsu, really rugged girl. She's faded a little bit, it seems, but she's still so rugged and her jiu-jitsu so good. So she's about a 2-to-1 dog against Macy Chasson out of Texas, fighting out of Fortis MMA, lanky, 5'10", blonde-haired girl with short hair. What do you think of that fight, Macy Chasson, Marion Renault?
I think I've seen Chasson fight before. And I think her anti-jiu-jitsu was pretty good. So I think she's just a little bit too young. So I think she's set up as the favorite, respectively. I think she's like set to win that fight.
Yeah, I think so too. She's got the length, the size, the youth. She does tend to like grappling more, and you got to be careful with Renault. But I think if you get the younger, taller, lankier, longer fighter on top, where punches can be thrown as well, that can kind of change things around a little bit. And I think, I think Marion wins that. All right, coming up to the men's fights. Let's go. Let's start here. Let's do the main three. Actually, the main two, because the Don'Tale Mayes has just found out that he's off the card against Tai Tuivasa, and they're putting Harry Hunsaker. I don't even really know who that is. All respect to him, but let's skip that. Let's do one that's one weight class above yours. And this, to me, is a really interesting fight. The man they call the Gift, Gregor Gillespie, until Kevin Lee flattened him.
No, that's my weight class.
Oh, it is?
They're 155.
That's right. What am I saying? 55. You're right. Okay, yep. So you got to have an opinion here. Gregor Gillespie against Brad Riddell, who was one of Israel Adesanya's teammates at City Kickboxing. I am super excited about this. Can you break that down a little bit for me, or tell me what you think might be key factors there real quick, and then a prediction?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, actually, I've been watching Brad Riddell a lot because he actually fought Malarkey. He beat Malarkey. It was Malarkey's first fight in the UFC.
That's right.
Like, so
you're coming up opponent, right?
Malarkey was a hard, brutal fight. So I've been watching that fight a lot. So I think that's a hard fight for Riddell. I mean, freaking
Gillespie.
My man. Yeah. Gillespie's wrestling is different.
Yeah.
It's different. It's really, and like people are like, oh, Riddell can stop takedowns. Like, yeah, you can stop takedowns, but that's a different type of takedown.
Yeah.
That's a different, like Kevin Lee got on him really fast. Like Gillespie's been trying to really get into his boxing. He's really overly doing the boxing, I think. And Kevin Lee just set that kick up nice and smooth. But I mean, Riddell can do that, but I think Gillespie's going to be pushing the takedown a lot more.
Yeah. He's going to be ready. Okay.
So, I got Gillespie winning that fight by decision, or Riddell getting something like some crazy first-round knockout. I think it's going to go either way.
Right. Almost like his teammate Kai Kara France did in the last 3 seconds of that fight this past Saturday. No, I agree, because they're slick. All right, main event, man, and we got to jump within 2 minutes. So give me maybe like a minute and a half breakdown on this. I'm so excited. These are two men that we've had on our show. One of them has had on several times. We know Kevin Holland's manager, and we're tight with them, but we had Derek Brunson on, and he and I had a great chat. This fight is exciting. They got Kevin about a 2-to-1 favorite. What are some of the things we should look for in this fight, and what do you think are going to be important factors between Kevin Holland and Derek Brunson, and then a prediction if you have one?
I'm a huge Kevin Holland fan. I love the personality. I love how real he is. He approaches fights. But this is a man sport, and Kevin Holland, I just don't think he's grown into his body completely yet. And everyone forgets that Brunson's, he's just powerful. Like it's an old man thing. Like he has enough of power, enough of wisdom. I think he's going to get a hold of Kevin Holland, He's going to beat the living shit. I think he's going to beat him into the floor at 5 rounds. That's a long time to do that. I think Holland lost to the dentist, and I think Brunson's a much better version of the dentist.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to push him, apply more pressure, get on him, throw heavy punches, get him just like he did in his last fight and break the younger fighter.
Yeah, and you could be right, because Derek Brunson, he does have that old man strength and that wisdom and that experience, having fought everyone. It's going to be a scrap, though, because they've already got a little bit of bad blood between each other, and they're going to be throwing down. It's going to be a great main event. Well, man, I appreciate your opinion. Well, you are scheduled for the following week, right? March 27th against Jamie Malarkey.
Sir.
Let me, Dr. Adam Roorda, let me see the odds on that real quick, man, because I got to believe they have Khama as a favorite. But let's look real quick and a little bit more down. All right, where are we? Oh, okay. Let's see where that is. And Malarkey against Worthy. There it is, a little bit lower, Doc. All right, there we go. And they have Khama Worthy about 1 3/4 to 1 favorite. You're anywhere from -138 to -161. Does that make sense to you, or were you thinking you would have had yourself at even more of a favorite than that?
No, I wish I was like a 400 underdog so my people can make fucking money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, then, yeah, it's not quite that, but it's good because there is a play. People don't look at these numbers and say, I can't make money here. So definitely, I think there's money to be made. I think you're going to do it, Khama. I think that, you're a very intelligent fighter. You're a confident guy, a relaxed guy, experienced. I think you're right in your prime, and I think you're going to have to put another L on this guy's record. I look forward to it. We'll be cheering for you here at the MMA Power Hour. I just want to let you know the Death Star Khama Worthy East Coast guy, we're behind you, and really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks. Khama Worthy, the Death Star, out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Look forward to that a week from Saturday. Well, whenever you're ready, Dr. Adam Roorda, we are ready for our next guest. And I know that takes a minute, so in the meantime, I'm going to say you guys look out for Khama Worthy. He did get caught in his last fight by Atman Azatar, but the bottom line is it wasn't like he was taking any sort of a beatdown. It was they were exchanging, and this Atman Atmatar, I'm like combining his name. The guy's so quick. I think Khama wasn't expecting that because Khama's really fast as well. And I think it's just that Azatar got there first. Yeah. I'm not making excuses, and Khama didn't make any excuses. We didn't talk about that fight, right? But yeah, I think the reality is Khama is still a badass, and he's going to come back and get back on the winning track here.
Yeah, especially with this one. I think he should be a little bit more of a favorite personally.
Yeah, I think so too. Malarkey, though, will be fighting hard when you got 2 losses in a row, especially in the UFC.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, before we go into our next guest here, I want to thank all of you for the tips, the shares, the comments, everything you can do to keep us going. Make sure to let your friends, family, teammates, whatever, know about our show, because we are fairly fresh compared to all the other people out there putting on these great shows. We are on Fight TV. We are on the Hannibal TV. If you're not on the one that I just mentioned, make sure to go to the other one. And also check us out up here on our social media. It's just at MMA Power Hour. Colin, we are ready to go into our next guest.
Let's do it. Stretch my neck out here. Getting back into my workout since gyms are back open here again in Cali. Love it. Cali. Yeah, can't wait to get rid of some of this. Hello there. Can you hear me, Hannah?
I can, yeah.
Awesome. So we are live. All we need you to do is hit that video button. There you go. Fantastic. And we are going to give you a proper introduction here. Ladies and gentlemen, I am super excited to have this next guest on our show for the very first time. She joins a group of UFC women's contenders and champions we've had on, and she is jumping in soon to be a UFC contender. We are talking about a woman that I see as a couple of nicknames. I see your 24K, but you're also the Queen of Sparta, Hannah Goldy. Let me know, are both of those nicknames going to stick, or is one of them old school and gone and the other one new, or is one of them for social media? What do you go by more out of those two, or is it both of them?
No, just 24K.
I love it. 24K, and that I just realized it gold, and you're Goldy. So I like that.
Yes.
Was that the play on that? Cool. How did you get that 24K nickname? Is it recent? Did you think of it yourself, or did someone put that on you?
It was actually before my Contender Series fight, and I was just like boxing in my friend's garage, and one of his friends was just like, I have a badass nickname for you, and I think that you should change your nickname. Because I honestly, like, I didn't really have one. And he was like, you should be 24K. And I was like, damn, that's actually pretty badass. And it just stuck.
Nice. I like that. Well, tell us a little bit about your gym and some of the people that are helping for you for this fight. Now, before we do that, we want to make sure we let people know about this fight. And this fight that you are in, I believe, is going to be a week from Saturday. And tell us for sure, though, the date and your opponent.
Yeah, so I'm fighting March 27th. I'm fighting Jessica Penn, UFC 260. And training at a Fusion XL. So I have a bunch of training partners there. My head coach is Julian Williams. I've also been working with JT Taylor out of Technique Boxing. And also in my corner will be Mitchell Chamali. He's been a coach and training partner basically my whole pro career. So yeah, those are my main coaches right now.
Very cool. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into being a UFC fighter? So few people make it to the UFC. Take us back maybe to before your first MMA fight, and maybe tell us maybe some of the more exciting points between now and then, and what got you into MMA, how long you were thinking about being a fighter, and what your martial arts or sports and athletic background includes.
Honestly, I really I really didn't tap into my athletic ability until my 20s. I ran track and cross country in high school, but I was all right. I wasn't super good, but like I said, I was always athletic, but I never really believed in my athleticism until I started training. And that was when I was like 22. So I wish that I started doing this when I was a lot younger, because I feel like, some people have been doing this since they were like 5, 6 years old. And I'm like, man, that would be so awesome. That's why I really want to encourage my son to, I really don't want him to fight, but I want him to train.
Yes.
He's already taking a couple boxing classes. So that's been awesome.
Very cool.
But yeah, I saw a Muay Thai fight when I was living in New York City, and I was just like, damn, that's badass. I really want to try that. And, fate works the way that it does. And I ended up just stumbling into a gym in New York a couple weeks later and starting cardio kickboxing. And I moved down to Florida, and I was just really fortunate to meet a lot of people that were willing to kind of take me under their wing and guide me. And that definitely just helped me grow in the sport. It was kind of like a fast track, honestly. Like I said, I was just cardio kickboxing for a couple months and took my first boxing fight, and I was like, man, this is fun. I want to keep doing this. So.
Very cool. Were you familiar with MMA or the UFC at that point?
Yeah, so mainly when I started, I really didn't know much about MMA at all, to be honest with you. I just was boxing and kickboxing, and I remember thinking arm bars are dumb. I never want to learn how to do arm bars. Those are stupid.
Right.
And then, I'm an athlete. So as I started, getting more into boxing and kickboxing, it was just kind of like a natural progression. I just wanted to learn more and, immerse myself in mixed martial arts, and obviously fell in love with jiu-jitsu and wrestling and all of it. So that's where we are now.
Absolutely. And when you did that, when you were starting to really immerse yourself in MMA, were there some fighters, male or female, that were superstars or big stars that you kind of found really interesting or admired or looked up to and wanted to either watch their fights more to learn, or just thought they were super, talented?
Obviously Ronda Rousey was a huge icon. I was kind of getting the sport and coming up, and I think that she's a pioneer of the sport and really just put women's MMA on the map. But I've never really been a huge fangirl of anybody, to be honest with you. I've always just wanted to be the next Hannah Goldy. So
Nice. You have to be. You have to have that confidence to be an original. That's one of the things that I really like about fighters. And I've always been a martial artist all my life. I never lie and try to say I ever fought pro when someone can't find the records or anything like that. I don't believe in that at all. But I always trained, and I was always competing at a low level in gyms in both striking and jiu-jitsu, and just always loved it. And so it gave me a lot of respect, you know, for martial arts and for combat and just being able to conquer your fears. And for you guys to do it on a professional level, on a way bigger level than I ever did, you know, I've always had the admiration for you guys, you know, henceforth being a fight fan for so many years. And I think it's really cool because a lot of the things that you need in life, you guys have to have in MMA. You have to have the ability to want to be an original, and to, not that you can't be a fan of someone, but to feel, hey, I need to go out there and I want to be the best me because I know that I can be, you know, something special, and have that courage. Because I think in life there's still like so many people that just are walking around in fear, you know what I mean? And I don't belittle those people at all, but the world's a scary place. And I think you know, just the fact that what you guys have to do to be a fighter, it's a great training ground for what you have to do to be successful in life. Because all of us, I know, at some points in our life have felt, you know, this is going to be tough. I don't really want to face this, or I don't really want to do that. And, you know, in life, if you don't want to go and face something, and you don't want to go and do that, and you're going to wait around for someone to hand you great things in life, doesn't really happen, does it?
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's too why I think that, you know, martial arts in general is just such a great thing for kids. And, you know, I've always been a huge advocate of, you know, women getting into it, just because I just think that it helps them with confidence and self-respect. And, you know, just it has helped me grow so much as a person. Obviously it's my career and I'm a professional athlete, but just on a personal level too, you know, just training so much sense, and really, you know, turning me into the person that I am, and confidence that I do the things that I do in my everyday life. You know, I don't think that I would have a lot tougher time, you know, with my day-to-day life if I hadn't learned the things that I had learned through martial arts. That's for sure.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Hannah, let me ask my producer a question here, and he's already given me the answer. He knows what I was saying. We're having a little bit of interference on your Skype. It's not terrible, but we hate to have, you know, it kind of coming in and out. Is there any other room where you are that you think might have a better Wi-Fi connection? I'm not trying to inconvenience you, but I just want to, you know, make sure people can hear you as much as possible, and we're getting a little bit of coming in and out. In the meantime, while you're checking, I really appreciate it. We're really excited to continue talking with you. I've been a women's MMA fan for so many years. Can you still hear me, Hannah?
Yeah, I can still.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, I was going to say I've been a women's MMA fan for so many years. I really knew right away when the UFC came out, and I was a fan of the UFC. I was young, but I had a copy of the press kit for the first UFC in my hands before that event. And when that came out in 1993, I was like, man, I've watched women's boxing before, and I'm like, I can't wait to see women get into this. And before women were in the UFC, you had to look at other organizations. I'm not sure how far back you go as far as looking at old women's fights, but there was Strike Force before that. There was Bodog fights. There was Hook and Shoot. There was women fighting in Japan, and, you know, remix Smack Girl Cups. And I was just watching a lot of this great women's fighting way back in the day. And before the first women's season in The Ultimate Fighter, there was a show in 2005, I think it was, where Gina Carano was a coach of women that were in like kind of a Ultimate Fighter for Muay Thai, called Fight Girls on Oxygen Network. I don't know, you probably never heard of that, but that was really cool. And you know who came out of there was Michelle Watterson and Felice Herring were both on that show called Fight Girls. Yep. And after after I saw that show, I'm like, come on, please put women in The Ultimate Fighter. please, please, it would be so cool. And it was years. I literally waited, I think, 5 years after that, and they finally did. But did you ever think that if that had been an option for you, and you never know, it still might, although you might not want it, what if they came to you and said, all right, Hannah, we're doing another season of Tough with the women in it at Strawweight? Would you consider it? And if so, how excited would you be, or not excited do you think you would be to do it?
I mean, I think that would definitely be a cool experience. It would just depend. Obviously, it's a little bit different for me because I have a son,
Right,
and
right.
being away from him for that, extended period of time would be really difficult for me. So it would have to be something that, I would need to think about and really weigh the pros and cons of. But all in all, like, I definitely think that it would be a super cool experience. I have a bunch of friends that were on it, and they all said that it was, a once in a lifetime experience, and it would definitely be cool to experience something like that.
Definitely so. And I give you a lot of respect being a mother and being an MMA fighter. That's so awesome. I know that Sarah McMahon's in there, and Miesha Tate is now a mother looking to come back possibly. And so big respect for you guys there. And definitely, I think there may have been a couple of women that may have been mothers in the Tough House. And I just remember, it became so painful that you just couldn't help but cry. And I have nothing but respect for that. But do you think if you had to be in the Tough House away from your what is it, your son or your daughter?
My son.
Your son. If you had to be away from your son for weeks and weeks, do you think you'd be able to avoid crying, or do you think it would be tough to avoid?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that I would shed a few tears for sure.
Yeah.
I also, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, I hear you. That makes sense. So we have a question for you from one of our fans and supporters. His name is Nate, and he said that Ronda is a favorite of his as well. And he actually asked, and I guess this would obviously be if and when your MMA career was over, if at that point you had an option or an opening to go into pro wrestling like Ronda did, would you ever consider it? And some of our fans are big pro wrestling fans as well, so I think he's thinking, maybe you might say yes, or do you think that's something you'd never want to do, or what's your thought?
I'm definitely open to all, business ventures. So I wouldn't say, yes or no indefinitely. It would just depend, again, like where I was at that point in my life. But I mean, I'm always open to, making new connections and making more money. So
Yep.
it would just depend where I was at, but that's definitely, it's not something that I'm actively, thinking about or pursuing. Obviously, my focus is MMA right now, but it's not something that would be completely out of the question if, an opportunity presented itself.
Cool, very cool. And it does seem also like we're getting better reception in this room, so appreciate the move. All right, so you have a big fight coming up. Jessica Penne, speaking about the Ultimate Fighter, she was on a season that had a lot of well-known women in that show. And Jessica Penne is a longtime jiu-jitsu black belt, I believe, and is kind of tall and lanky for the division. She's had several years off. Let's take a look here. Her last fight was April 22nd of 2017. So this will be nearly 4 years off. She's 38 years old. What do you do? Let me ask you, in all honesty, and you can disclose as much as you want, because I know there are some things that fighters might want to keep secret. But when you see that matchup, I'm sure you have nothing but respect for her. But is your first thought, I just am going to smash this old lady? Or, right? Or what's your thought when they say, here we go, Jessica Penne coming at you?
No, I mean, I have never underestimated anybody that I've fought, and I never will, for the rest of my career. I think that if you do that, then you're done, because if somebody signs their name on a contract to fight me, that means that they believe that they can beat me, and that means that they're a legitimate threat, especially being in the UFC. Everybody that is in the UFC is in the UFC for a reason. She has fought a lot of tough girls. She's fought a lot of champions. She's been a champion. She has a lot of experience. So no, I would never overlook her. And, there's fighters that are older than her that are still killing it. So, I think that it would be ignorant of me to just assume that I was going to smash her. I think that it's going to be a good fight. I'm excited to put my skills to the test against another elite level athlete. And I just think that if I can perform to the best of my ability next Saturday night, then that will be enough to get my hand raised.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. When you look at someone who is an experienced fighter, but she really prefers the jiu-jitsu, she's not really that great a wrestler, with all respect to her, and her striking is not bad, but wasn't her forte. Really, jiu-jitsu is her thing. Do you look at that and say to yourself, you know what, I'm not going to worry about that. I know jiu-jitsu as well. Wherever it goes, it goes. Or do you say to yourself, you know what, it might be fun to see how she feels on the ground. Let me see, if that's what I, should do. And then also, like, let's say Mackenzie Dern was back at Strawweight. She's young and she's been fighting currently. I can see a lot of people being told, why would you ever go down to the ground with Mackenzie Dern? But in this situation, you say this woman hasn't fought in 4 years. She's 38 years old. Not that you overlook it, but are you thinking to not try to mix up things on the ground and test her jiu-jitsu, or do you feel like it doesn't matter where it goes, you're going to feel comfortable?
I think that I'm the most prepared that I've ever been for a fight in my life. I think that I'm the most well-rounded that I've ever been. And I think that I am prepared wherever the fight goes. I'm not going to avoid going anywhere because I trust my skills and I trust my training and I trust my preparation. And I think that, I'm going to be prepared wherever it goes. But obviously, I do think that it would be awesome to test all of my skills against her. I'm just ready to fight, and I'm ready for the fight wherever it goes. I'm ready to fight 15 hard minutes. So, I'm just excited to get in there.
Absolutely. Is Strawweight a place that you feel you'll call home for a good long time to come? Has that always been the weight division you competed at? And if not, what would be other thoughts?
I fought at 115 and 125. My debut was at 125, but that was on, I think like 10 days notice or something. So if I were to move back up to 125, I would have to change my training protocols a little bit and kind of figure out where to have my body sit at weight wise that would be more beneficial for me to fight at that weight class. But I do really like fighting at 115. I definitely feel the most athletic there. I feel the most conditioned. So as of right now, 115 is kind of where I want to climb the ranks.
Gotcha. And did you mean your pro debut or your UFC debut was at 125?
My UFC debut was at
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. And so that's a significant factor because, so you have not been beaten at 115 at all as a pro.
No.
Very cool. Let's look at the odds here. Let me ask my producer, Dr. Adam Roorda. Let me pull this up. Are you at all of an odds or a gambling person? Either way, I'm going to get your opinion. But are you someone that really looks at that a lot, or gambles yourself, or hates gambling, or what's your feeling on that?
I don't hate it. I just like my money, and I like knowing where my money is.
Right.
So I really don't gamble at all. And I really tend not to look at the odds too much. Like, definitely not when it's, about me. I'll see them for other fights and other fighters and stuff like that, but it's not really something that I weigh any of my decisions on.
Makes sense. It's not something, though, that would make you angry to hear that you're deliberately not wanting to hear, or is it?
Oh, no.
Okay, good, because you are a slight favorite. They've got you a slight favorite, anywhere from -113 to -125. So maybe like 1.5 to 1 favorite. They have you as. And so, that's cool. So are there any women that you're really excited about matching up with down the line? I know you don't really look past this opponent, but, I think that there are some great fighters at Strawweight, but I think that there are not a ton of them. Some people kind of feel there is, but I kind of feel like, like this is a division that this time next year you could conceivably be in the top 10. you know, with a couple of good wins. And are there any people that you really think would be exciting fights down the line, or maybe any people? I know you're not a big fangirl, like you said, but are there any of the women at 115 that you think are really exciting that you would like to test your skills against down the line?
I'm really not one to call people out or to, you know, I there's nobody that I want to fight. It's just whoever, you know, Mick wants me to fight. But obviously, you know, Rose and like they're just, to me, like, I don't fangirl, but they're like, watching them fight is amazing. I'm really looking forward to watching them fight, and you know, obviously, like, it would be a dream for me to eventually be able to test my skills against them. Not rushing that in any way, and definitely want to be prepared for that moment when it comes. But I'm super excited for that matchup. I'm super excited to watch them fight. So obviously the goal is always, you know, to be the best in the world. So hopefully eventually we'll be testing my skills against,
Absolutely. Well,
you know, everybody.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Cool. So we got about 4 minutes left with you. Continue on that front. May I get your opinion on some big upcoming women's fights?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Everyone loves the pros pick segment. So let's look at, is that this week, Dr. Adam Roorda? No, it isn't. Let's look at this weekend. Julia Avila. What is, I think, like the vicious panda bear or something? The raging panda. Right? Coming up against Julija Stolarienko. And a huge favorite is Avila, even though she came off a loss. Julija actually came off a big loss where she was up at a higher weight, I think, against Kunitskaya, although this might be at bantamweight. I don't know. What do you think, Avila or Stolarienko?
I'm going to be honest, I don't know too much about the other girl. From what I've seen of the Raging Panda, she's pretty savage, so I'll go with her.
Sounds good. I agree. All right, these next two women you probably do know, even though they're a division you've never fought at. But we have the Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Marion Renault, 41, 42 years old, but still a badass, against Macy Chasson, the tall, lanky, blonde-haired, short-haired girl fighting out of Texas. Chasson, 2.5 to 1 favorite. What do you think in that fight?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the favorite in that one, but you know, anything can happen in a fight, and I think that Renault's still super tough, and she could definitely pull something out.
Excellent. And do you watch men's fights as much as women's, or more women's?
No, I probably watch them equally.
Yeah. Any opinion on the main event this Saturday, Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland?
I'm gonna go Brunson.
Yeah, you think so? Just the wrestling and the experience and the strength?
Yeah, I mean, he's also, I feel like people like underestimate him. Like he's tough, and he's fought a lot of tough people, so yeah, I'll go with Brunson.
Very true. And then let's go to next week, Dr. Adam Roorda, my producer, and there we go. So there are some women on that card. Or in fact, on your card, now let me ask you this. There are some fighters on your card that you may be sharing dressing rooms with. Would you prefer not to make a prediction on anyone there, or would it not bother you?
It's all good.
Okay, so Jillian Robertson, Miranda Maverick. We've had both of them on our show several times. This fight was rescheduled from a few weeks ago. This is pretty interesting. This is one division above you, but you fought there before, flyweight, and you got the new girl, Miranda Maverick, against the girl that's been around it, doing pretty well. Maverick, they have it almost a 2 to 1 favorite. Give me like a quick minute on how do you think that fight plays out, and then a prediction.
I think Jillian's better. Jillian's one of my training partners, and I also feel like I think that Jillian gets underestimated too. You know, she has a lot of wins in the UFC, and she's fought a lot of tough girls. So she's durable too, and I think she gets the submission in that fight.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. And Dr. Adam Roorda, I don't think there's anyone higher than that on that card as far as the women. No, there isn't. Last couple questions here in the last minute we have you here. Real quick, one of our fans wants to know, what do you think of social media influencers like, you know, Jake Paul or KSI or Logan Paul calling out real fighters? Ben Askren is actually going to be fighting Jake Paul in a boxing match. But do you have a problem with that? Do you dislike these social media influencers, or do you think it's just fine?
I mean, it is what it is. Like, you got to respect the hustle. So,
Yep.
I mean, he's making a shit ton of money doing it, so it's like, it's good for him.
Without a doubt. And then quick predictions really quick on the two big ones next month. Andrade challenging the Bullet, Valentina Shevchenko, and then Rose against Weili Zhang.
Yeah, I have Valentina. Andrade is super tough, but I think that Valentina's going to take that one. And then I can't call the Zhang and Rose fight. I love them both, and I'm just really excited to watch that fight as a fan, as a spectator. You know, obviously, like, I hope that it goes 5 rounds just so we get to watch them fight for 5 rounds, because I just think it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. I just hope that no one's head grows twice the size like Joanna's did against Weili Zhang. That was brutal, but big respect. I thought Joanna won that fight, even though Zhang is amazing. But man, I just the pain that you guys can take and stuff like, you know, like, that was amazing. But yeah, I can't wait to see it too. Well, Hannah Goldy, so excited to see you fight March 27th against the returning Jessica Penne. You look in amazing shape here from the video. I can't wait to see you. You're undefeated at strawweight, and I think that's going to continue. I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on the MMA Power Hour. We'll be cheering for you, and we'll make sure to connect with you. We can talk again down the line.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome. Take care now. And Dr. Adam Roorda, great talking to 24K Hannah Goldy. I did not know that her first fight was not only on 10 days notice, her first UFC fight, but at a weight class higher than she's fought. So that could
impressive
explain that.
For sure.
Again, she didn't win that fight, but she fought tough, and this is going to be a much better condition here, and so much experience on the part of Jessica Penne. But I just think that Hannah is going to be too much. Can't wait to see that victory. And yeah, so Dr. Adam Roorda, we got to wrap this up. Give your last thoughts. And
absolutely. Thank you, everybody. You guys are all amazing. Thank you for the tips there, guys, as well. For those of you over on Fight TV, head on over to the Hannibal TV on YouTube. Next time, catch us over there. Throw us tips, get questions answered with the fighters. And we are here to really pump you guys up with full of knowledge every single week. Colin is one of the most knowledgeable people in MMA, so make sure to tune back in every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern. We always have on some great guests. You guys are amazing. Hit us up on social media as well, and also go on over and get yourself a bottle of that full spectrum hemp oil over at mmaph.nesashemp.com. Colin, thank you for another amazing episode. For this week, I'm tapping out.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Adam Roorda, for everything you do. It is invaluable. Thank you guys for your support. Nate and Shinta, thank you for saying great interviews. Guys, awesome show. We really, really appreciate it. Tell a friend. Appreciate your support. Ladies and gentlemen, last minute I have, go out and spread the love in a positive way. Be that guy, be that girl. Let someone know that you have their back, even if you can't be there during this pandemic, that you do care about them. A friend, an office worker, of course, your parents, your kids, your grandparents, even grandkids, and your pets. Make sure they have a warm place in this cold winter, and fresh water and good food. And bottom line is, take good care of yourself. You deserve it. Sometimes we're too hard on ourselves, and I like to say, treat to yourself the way your loved ones would like you to be treated. All right,